Okay, Olive, when were you born?
1933, August 1933. So I'll be, a month after next, I'll be 90.
And where were you born?
In Manchester.
How did you end up in Liverpool?
I got a transfer from Midland Bank to the Adelphi in Liverpool.
And what was your job?
Waitress.
Was it the Midland Hotel?
The Midland Hotel in Manchester, yeah.
How old were you when you came to Liverpool?
I think it was 19 or 20, I'm not sure. 19 or 20, one of them years it was there. And then I worked in the Adelphi for a few months, and then I decided I wanted to change, and that's how I come to go to the Golden Dragon, the Chinese restaurant in Easy Street, where I met my husband.
How did you feel about going for the interview? What did you do?
Well, I was a bit worried about it because I hadn't met Chinese at all in my life, and but then when I went for the interview, and my brother-in-law interviewed me, and I was shocked that he could speak so good English. So that's how I got the job, and I started there and I worked there. Mixed with all the family, had great times.
When you went for the interview, what did you wear? How did you do your hair?
I didn't do my hair, I come straight out the shower. Never had any tights or anything on because I didn't want the job. But then I smartened myself up after that.
How did you meet your husband?
My husband worked in the restaurant with me alongside him. We didn't get on very well for about 3 years, 4 years. We didn't. He was a bit aggressive towards us. Didn't mean not aggressive when he'd done anything. He just like very abrupt with all this stuff. But then we got on. We started getting on fine, and he started giving me a lift home at night time, and that's how we come to be about.
So did you fall in love with him?
Well, I don't know. Not at first. I think probably later I did, yeah. But they were lovely. I mean, his mum was just a lovely, lovely person. I mean, she used to take me out for rides when we were off. One time I fell off my bike and had a lump on my head, and she wouldn't let me go to work for a week. But she took me out every day, because she was so worried about the lump on my head.
So you went cycling?
Yeah, I used to go cycling with a lot of them from Nelson Street. All the family, it's the schoolmates of my brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws and ladies from the same area. And we used to fill up with tambows and handbows in Nelson Street before we went on our tours.
Was it a cycling club?
No, just all family members, family and friends. We used to get the bus, we used to get the boat over to New Brighton, cycle from there, different places. And then of course one of my brother-in-laws was motorbike mad. He had a motorbike, so he used to have motorbikes, and with quite a few of his friends, some English, some Chinese, and they were well known for tearing around Liverpool on motorbikes. Yeah.
What was Nelson Street like then? So what year are we talking about?
Well, 51 I think when I got here, yeah. So I never took any notice. I mean, I used to just do my work. It was a very busy restaurant, and the people I was with 24 hours of the day, more or less. It was lovely.
What was the restaurant called again?
The Golden Dragon.
And where was it?
In Easy Street.
That's near Hardman Street, isn't it? Near the bombed out church?
Yeah, right you're facing. Yeah, Raymond's got photographs of where my husband's sitting with the church at the back of him. I don't know where he's put them. He guards him with his life.
Did you go down Nelson Street? Was that a meeting area for people?
Always, never out of Easy Street, always in Easy Street. And then, of course, when we got married, we used to be down there a lot. in mother-in-law's shop, you know. We used to go down on a Wednesday and go out, take mother out somewhere with the children. But it was very nice. They had the Nook in
Nelson Street.
Nelson Street, yeah. And the lady there was very, very nice. She used to have the place full of Chinese, and they used to bring her all kinds of gifts and everything home, you know. They all thought a lot of her. Yeah, she's very nice.
And people have told us about, is it Auntie Lou? Auntie Lil? Or
Auntie Lily?
Yeah.
Yeah, Auntie Lily, they had a shop, a restaurant in Renshaw Street, on the, just practically opposite the Blackie, did they call it the Blackie Church? I'm not sure what it's called.
The Blackie.
The Blackie Church, yeah. And she had quite a few children, and we used to always go to their house and have little parties and little bops. You know, it was all like teetotal, nothing, no drinks and that. Well, she was a lovely person, and she used to look after all the teenagers.
So did your mother-in-law have a difficult time? Did her husband die or something?
Well, her husband died in 1945, just after the war. And, well, of course, I didn't know her then, and she had 11 children. And so it must have been difficult for her. And she didn't speak good English. The children all went to English schools, but they always spoke Chinese when they were at home. But yeah, he was very nice. And then they had relatives who used to go and visit in different parts where they used to invite us to little parties and things. So it was very nice.
I've seen a photograph of one of your relatives weighing crabs in Nelson Street.
Oh, that was my father-in-law. Yes, he had the grocery shop, the Quante Young. And the photograph that, I'd only just seen that recently, that was him when he was serving in his own shop. And a few doors up, his daughter had a shop later on, but I think it was after the father died, they opened their own shop up there.
Do you remember that shop?
Oh, I do remember it, yeah, she's right next to it. Well, it's about probably next door to the Chinese Community Centre there, yeah.
Can you describe it for me?
What, the shop?
Yeah.
Yes, it was up the steps. Joan she had 4 children, which I think they're all still alive, but they've moved out to different places. And she had a grocer's shop. She also opened the restaurant in Lacey Street. I can't think of the name of it now, but it was right facing
The Golden Dragon?
No, that was on Lacey Street. This is Nelson Street, just past the pub. You know, the Nook.
It's called the New Capital now.
That's right, but she was the one that owned that and had it refurnished from being, it used to be offices, I think, you know.
That's right, it was the Chinese office
Yeah,
for the Blue
boats,
Funnel.
Yeah, the Blue Funnel. And then when she bought it, it was her that done it all out. And then she sold that and she moved on to Renshaw Street into the 7-Up restaurant called the 7-Up, yeah.
So tell us about, how did your husband propose to you?
I can't even remember, it's that long ago. I can't remember, he must have proposed otherwise. I didn't propose to him, I know that for a fact. He must have proposed to me, but I think we just normally grew together, you know, we see so much and mixed with so much. And yeah.
And where did you get married?
In, now, I don't know, I can't remember the name of Brome Terrace. Brome Terrace, that's right. And there was only myself and my husband and 2 witnesses, because my mother-in-law didn't want us to marry mixed race. She wanted to keep her sons and family married to Chinese, and my family was the same. So we just got married on our own, without family or anything. Yeah.
And afterwards, where did you go?
I went home for bacon and egg and he went back to the restaurant. But in the evening time, then we went out. Yeah.
So what was it like with the families not getting on or not wanting you to be married?
I've got fine after that. We went to live with a cousin of my husband's, had a chip shop on Smithtown Road, and we went to live there. And then my mother-in-law came up to visit and wanted to take me out for a ride, and everything was all right. And from then on, it was perfect.
And what about your family?
Well, my family, as soon as we took him home, they just accepted it. Yeah, they just accepted it, and they turned out to be great friends, you know, with all my family. So
Oh, that's
everything, a happy ending to it all.
Now, what about Tony Kwok? Did you ever go to the Far East? Restaurant?
No, I didn't. I didn't know the father. I only knew the son, Tony. And he had the cafe restaurant in Renshaw Street. And then later on he opened a coffee bar on the corner of, what's the road that goes down? It was on the corner anyway, of Renshaw Street and Bold Street, that's it, yeah. Couldn't remember the name. Bold Street. He opened a coffee house there. Then we bought a chip shop, but we never mixed later with Tony. We knew him, and you know, but we didn't see very, very much of him. And then I was after we retired, we closed the shop in 30, and it was years after I took waitressing up again, and I was working in Formby Hall. And one of the tables that I had, Tony was sitting on it, and I hadn't seen him for about 10 years. And I just whispered to him, is your name Tony? And he said, yes, what's yours? So I said, well, you remember me by my husband's name, Mun, you know, because my husband was called Mun. And then, you know, we just had a chat and that, and then the next time I seen Tony, he invited us to one of his dinners he had, a birthday party, I think it was. And then after that, I seen him quite a lot recently, you know, before he died, in the restaurants, when we used to meet up in the restaurant. We didn't meet up, we just accidentally met together, yeah. But he's a nice person, very nice person.
Where was your chip shop?
On Muirhead Avenue East.
What was it called?
Raylo's. But I done the work. No, not saying that. But it was known, very well known for Raylo's. In fact, on Facebook, every year it's printed up about Raylo's chippy. And it says on that Norwich Green, I reckon that Raylo's had the most acknowledgements than anyone else on iPad.
Is it still there?
Yeah, but I don't know where it is. It comes up every so often. Raymond will probably collect it for you. Because Raymond puts photographs on. As soon as you mention Raylo's, everybody comes. Because everybody used to get on very well with my husband. And he was a keen supporter. And people used to come in at 2 o'clock in the morning. They'd be standing talking football. And he knew a lot of the football. So, I mean, that got Raymond a very good name anyway, because he supported the best. Yeah, so, yeah, we used to stay open till late at night sometimes, because at one time we used to have a lot of clubs in Manchester, and a lot of the groups used to go to Manchester, and of course they didn't get food on the way. They used to come on the way, and with it being by the East Lancashire Road, we used to get quite a lot of them coming in, you know. I wish I'd have kept some of the autographs.
Can you remember any of the names?
Oh, quite well. Well, it comes to me, I can, but it was all around the Beatles, because Beatles used to, and John Lennon, not John Lennon, Pete Brest, his mother had a shop, a club just round the corner from where we were. So we used to get lots of the groups coming from there. But the ferrymen, you know, what was that, this group that joined, Paul McCartney was in it. They used to come in and sit on the back. But we used to get a lot of football.
Quarry?
The Quarry.
Quarryman.
The Quarry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to come in. We used to have a big church bench in the shop. And they all used to come in. And a lot of them come from the clubs. A lot of them used to sit in, playing the guitars and things like that, you know. And yeah, lots of footballers used to come in as well, you know.
Have you got any photographs of them?
No, I haven't. Well, I didn't think there was anybody really. I just saw the footballers and the musicians. But, you know. But I've got a book, actually. I've lent it to my neighbour across the road. I've got a book that I bought some years ago from P. Best. He wrote a book about his mum and about the club they had and everything. And he used to come in. When he first broke with the Beatles, he came in with his new group. Don't even know the name of their group, but he came in with their group. But this book, as I said, I've just lent it to my neighbour across the road because there's quite a lot of information about them in there.
And so what about children? When did you have your first child?
I had my first child in 1959 and I had my second child 18 months after. I had my son first and then my daughter after that. It's my daughter's disease now, that's it at the back of it. When she first took bad and she left the dancing, and she left the dancing, she took all different things and she's very talented in loads of things. Not saying that because it's my daughter, but at one time, when she got married, she got all the information from America for balloons, and she'd done all her own wedding with balloons. And then after that, she used to do them for weddings and parties and things. And she went in the Adelphi quite a few times to decorate the tables, you know, for when anyone wanted a party and that. So,
Do you want me to put that back? I'll just put it there for a minute. She's gorgeous.
yeah, she is. She was a lovely looking girl. She was very, very, you know, she was very happy-go-lucky, and she'd try anything, and she travelled abroad, and she used to go dancing from when she was about 6 years of age, and then you know, after that she moved up into the senior, and then she went full-time college dancing, and then she started going away with different agencies, and then she got her own dance group. She finished up with her own dance group till she took bad with MS, and she couldn't continue with that. So that's where she used to start doing everything else. She used to make flower arrangements and in big baskets. I used to take them to the Adelphi and sell them. Everybody in the Adelphi used to have a big basket for the mother or the mother-in-law or someone, you know. Then she went into jewellery, making jewellery. Then she went into buying clothes wholesale and selling those. So she had all that little thing right the way through her life she'd done. She was very talented. Yeah.
When did she pass away?
12 months last December. Yeah.
Not long.
No, January, sorry. Yeah. But she'd had MS since she was 24, so it was sad. But, you know, she battled through everything. She's very strong. And everybody used to know her, all her schoolmates. They all kept all the dancing partner, you know, the girls used to have dancing with her in the college. They all used to come up to her house and they had parties, even still up to more or less 12 months before she died. Quite a lot of them still have. Quite a lot of them's died. You know, there was one young lady, Glenys, and she was lovely dancer and everything. It was said at one time when they were kids she'd be the best thing that ever come out of Liverpool. It'd be Glenys, because she won all the competitions, and then she went to a school in London, and then she gave her career up for her mother because her mother was bad. So that was it. And then there was about three of the different groups from where they grew up is passed, which is sad.
How was it for your children growing up being Chinese? Did they feel Chinese or?
No, my son, Raymond, he didn't bother, you know. I mean, kids can be nasty at times, and Raymond was always the baddie. If they were paying cowboys and Indians, Raymond was always the baddie because he was Chinese. But, you know, kids used to say Chinese, Japanese, go and wash your dirty knees and things like that. Dawn used to get a bit upset over it, but Raymond didn't bother. And then, no, they went to school, they went through school together, they done well, yeah.
So going back to Nelson Street, what else do you remember about those days? You mentioned the handbells.
Yeah, the handbells, shumais, and then of course there used to be a restaurant on the corner then, on the same side as my mother-in-law's, and we used to always be going in there, because she used to always take the family in for dinner. The whole family used to go, so it was a, you know, a big occasion every other week. She's very generous with all the children, she looked after them well,
And was it all Chinese food?
it was always Chinese food, but we did take it for English foods as well. But yeah. But I love Chinese food. I didn't have to say anything to them now. It's either fish and chips or Chinese Chinese food. I mean, having a fish and chip shop, you think you get there. I had it for 31 years. You think you get fed up with it. But every time I go out, and you know what you're having, I say fish and chips.
What do you like the best? Cod?
Yeah, cod, yeah. But I go to different places and say, no, that's not a bit like ours. And then I found a couple that is, oh, that's just brilliant, that one, you know. Yeah.
Would you like to ask some questions?
But I learned how to do chop suey rolls and fish cakes. Raymond used to do the fish and chips. And he used to cut the fish and then batter it. And I used to do the chop suey rolls and fish cakes. Yeah.
So where were you in World War Two?
Where was I?
Yeah.
I was in Manchester.
And what was that like?
Well, I think you don't feel it as much when you're children as you do when you're adults. But I do remember going in the air raid shelters, the houses, all the windows put out, would be 6 o'clock in the morning, brushing it all up. I had relatives that were in, some of them was in nursing homes, well, not nursing homes, in children's homes, you know, because one of the parents, she lost her husband and she had 3 children. And it was sad really, because it was my grandma's sister, they were twins, and she was put in the workhouse for, because Manchester was a deprived area as well. And she used to take milk off the doorsteps. And, well, that's what I heard. I don't know whether that was the real reason. And she went in and the children was taken off her. So, like, we only lived 2 up and 2 down, and there was 8 of us in the family. And as they got older, and they was the age, my mum took one out at a time. And Nicky, he came home first. He stayed with us till he got his papers to go in the Navy. Then Tommy, we took him in till he went in the Navy. And then Anne, she went in the WAFs. So they all lived with us for a period. And Nicky got killed in 1942. Now remember that, because I know everybody was heartbroken over it. They were on the knees praying. But every day there was people coming round with, you know, like special notices that your son's been killed. So they was up and down the streets all the time. There's hundreds of them. You know, you expected it, and that would, you know, we used to go in the when I say, like, when you're young you don't feel as much. We used to go in the fire, in the bomb shelters, and we thought it was lovely because everybody would make sandwiches. I mean, you didn't have much, but people used to share everything. And people used to come in playing the accordions and mouth organs, and everybody used to be singing. They'd had a few drinks. And, well, when you had children, it was lovely, you know, something exciting in your life, apart from bombing.
Where about in Manchester were you?
Calais. Years ago, it used to be named as Jane's Hole, but it was a very deprived area. I mean, we didn't. We had children, but we didn't have much, but we was looked after. We was loved, which was, important really.
So how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 5 brothers and 1 sister. Yeah, so it was a big family, but they've all gone. I'm the only one that's left. It's like Raymond, there's 11 in this family, so that was a big family.
Were they all in Britain? Raymond's family, were they all in Britain?
No, there was 3 of them. Tommy, Joan and Peter, they got caught up in the war over in China. So they wasn't here. Then they only came home after the war. They did have a lot of trouble over there with war and things like that. They didn't have an easy life. But, at the end of the day, they came home and they done all right for themselves. And their children's, quite a few of them has passed, but there's a few of them still alive, Raymond's in touch with all of them. I can't really go on Facebook and look for people like Raymond can. I can't think of the place he was in now.
Did you ever go?
I've been to China, I've been to Hong Kong a few times. Not then, but like later on when our Raymond was working in Hong Kong. Went to Hong Kong and Macau and into China itself. It was lovely in China as well. People, the gentleman that Raymond used to work with, and we went to Hong Kong because he had to go somewhere, and then we met this gentleman that Raymond known for about 20 years, and he talked to him to going over to China, so we all went over to China and for a weekend. They were lovely. They took us out everywhere and went to nightclubs, and you dressed in jeans and tops, and you go to a nightclub and they're all in long gowns and everything, and you think, God, we're going in here, When you go in, it was only the hostesses that was dressed like that. And then they brought meals to the room, you were all in little rooms to watch the entertainment. You opened the door and there were entertainment, or you could just have music, playing, which was very nice.
Is there anything that you'd like to add? Is there anything, a story or anything that you can remember?
No, not really, not more than I can't always remember things, I'll probably remember about 1,000 things when you've gone, but I can't bring everything to mind. I think I've got too much evidence in my brain over the years. I don't think I can get any more. I have to root for it to bring it out. Yeah. But as I say, I was very happy. I'm married Chinese and had a lovely life, I really enjoyed being Chinese. Yeah.